It was Saturday afternoon in Brooklyn. The sun was still out, the streets were busy, and Ocean Parkway looked like it always did. Natasha Saada was walking with her children after synagogue. She had done this walk many times before. Her daughters, Diana and Deborah, stayed close. Her youngest son, Philip, followed just behind them. They were heading to visit family. Nothing about the moment felt dangerous. They reached the crosswalk at Ocean Parkway and Quentin Road. The pedestrian signal was on. Cars stopped. The family stepped forward together. They were holding hands. They were doing everything right.
Natasha Saada and her young children are seen happily walking home from synagogue only seconds before Miriam Yarimi came speeding around the corner.
At that same moment, far down the road, a blue Audi was coming fast. Too fast for the street. Too fast for anyone to react. The driver was Miriam Yarimi. Ocean Parkway is posted at 25 miles per hour. That limit exists because the road cuts through homes, schools, synagogues, and crosswalks filled with families. On March 29, 2025, Miriam Yarimi drove straight through that limit as if it did not exist. Her Audi A3 reached 68 miles per hour. Black box data later confirmed her gas pedal was fully pressed. No brakes were applied. The steering wheel barely moved. She was not rushing to escape danger. She was not reacting to traffic. She was looking at her phone. Video showed Miriam holding her phone in her hand while driving. The screen was on. She was using the video feature. For more than 1 full minute, she sat at a red light while recording, not watching the road, not watching pedestrians, not watching anything except herself. Her phone use was visible through the open panoramic sunroof and the passenger window. When the light turned green, she did not roll forward. She surged. She passed the car in front of her and turned onto Ocean Parkway. Cameras tracked her for blocks. She ran a red light, then another. Each time, she kept accelerating. At one intersection, she nearly hit other cars and pedestrians. Instead of slowing down, she pressed harder on the gas. She raced toward Quentin Road with the light already red. A Toyota Camry with TLC plates entered the Quentin Road intersection. It was an Uber. Inside were a mother and her 3 children. They had the green light. They were turning right onto Ocean Parkway. Dash cameras inside the Camry recorded everything. Miriam Yarimi blew through the red light and smashed into the back of the Uber. The impact ripped apart the rear of the vehicle. Metal collapsed. Glass burst outward. The Camry spun away, pushed aside by the force. The Audi did not stop. Directly ahead, Natasha Saada was crossing Ocean Parkway with her children. It was Shabbat. They had just left synagogue. They were walking to visit relatives. The pedestrian signal was on. They were almost across the street. Natasha held hands with her daughters, Diana and Deborah. Her 4-year-old son Philip followed close behind. They were 1 or 2 steps from the sidewalk when the Audi reached them. The car hit at full speed.
Here you see the Saada family, Natasha and her 3 little ones walking Saturday afternoon. They had no idea that Audi would end up barreling into them as they crossed the street. Killed in the horrific crash, Natasha, her daughter's 5-year-old Deborah and 8-year-old Diana. Natasha's little boy seen here trailing behind his sisters seconds before. The 4-year-old was critically injured.
The force lifted bodies into the air. Witnesses said the sound felt like an explosion. The Audi flipped, went airborne, and traveled about 130 feet before landing upside down. Diana and Deborah were killed instantly. Natasha was pinned beneath the vehicle. Philip was still alive, but barely. They never reached the curb.
It's like an earthquake. It went on for a good 30 seconds. It must have been the car was rolling over.
It felt like the world stopped for that second until everyone was processing what was going on.
The intersection collapsed into chaos. Debris covered the road. Car parts, broken glass, shoes, and personal items were scattered across the pavement. Drivers stopped. People ran toward the crash. Some screamed. Some froze. Emergency responders arrived within minutes. Police officers, firefighters, paramedics, and volunteer medics rushed in. CPR began immediately. Medics worked on multiple victims at once. Natasha and her daughters could not be saved. Philip was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He had skull fractures. His brain was bleeding, His injuries were so severe that doctors later removed one of his kidneys. He was placed in a medically induced coma to keep him alive. One first responder broke down crying at the scene. Firefighters surrounded the overturned Audi. Inside was Miriam Yarimi. She was wearing her seatbelt. She had only minor injuries. As firefighters tried to help her, she began screaming. She cursed at them. She insulted them. She demanded to be pulled out immediately. She shouted that she was possessed. She claimed the CIA was chasing her. She said she did not hurt anyone. Firefighters used heavy cutting tools to open the car. They cut her seatbelt. They pulled her out through the passenger side. She stood up without help. She walked to the ambulance on her own. Inside the ambulance, Miriam continued yelling. She resisted the medics. She tried to get off the stretcher. She refused to cooperate. She denied having any medical conditions. She refused a breath test. At the hospital, her behavior escalated. She cursed at staff. She screamed about the devil being inside her eyes. She said police were out to get her. She demanded her phone, saying the evidence was inside it. She asked to be uncuffed. She demanded scans and tests. She said she did nothing wrong and demanded proof. While families cried on Ocean Parkway, she focused only on herself. She was transferred to Bellevue Hospital and placed in the prison ward for psychiatric evaluation. Miriam Yarimi was 33 years old. Online, she presented herself as a successful wig maker and social media influencer. Her pages showed luxury trips, cruises, nightlife, and expensive cars. She proudly displayed a custom license plate reading WIGM 8KER.
Guys, I just got my new license plate. It's official. I'm officially a wig maker by law. Ah! Oh my god! It looks so good! Wig maker, hit me up! Oh my god, just pull me over. Like, get at me. Look at this, wig maker. If you see this license plate, say hi.
Her real history was far less polished. Her driver's license was suspended. Her insurance had lapsed. Notices had been mailed to her address. She kept driving anyway. Public records showed her Audi had racked up over 90 traffic violations. Some reports placed the number over 100. These included more than 20 speeding tickets, many in school zones, at least 5 red light violations, and dozens of parking infractions. The fines totaled over $10,000. On March 16th, less than 2 weeks before the crash, she was ticketed for speeding through a school zone. Nothing stopped her from driving. Traffic cameras recorded her again and again. Red light cameras caught her blowing through intersections. Speed cameras caught her racing through areas filled with children. She paid some fines. She ignored others. She posted screenshots online when she paid, mocking the criticism. Her Audi faced repossession issues. Her insurance lapsed. Her license remained suspended. She drove anyway. Just weeks before the crash, she ordered a luxury Porsche. 2 weeks later, she upgraded the order to a model costing over $180,000. She provided her valid driver's license for the purchase. That same license was later found inside her overturned Audi. Years earlier, Miriam had settled a lawsuit against the NYPD for $2 million after claiming she was sexually assaulted by an officer when she was 14. Friends later described the relationship differently, saying she viewed it as an affair that ended badly. After the settlement, she made large purchases, including luxury cars. Police records also showed a pattern of unusual claims. She accused neighbors of spying on her. She claimed government agencies were watching her. Days before the crash, she posted about attacking a neighbor with a hammer, an incident authorities said did not occur. She had multiple residences and shifted addresses depending on convenience. When it came to credit or purchases, she used official records. When it came to liability, she reported different addresses. Neighbors described the Saada family as gentle and polite. The children were known for greeting people warmly.
The kids would always say good morning to strangers, because that's the way she brought them up. Great person.
Sidney Saada, Natasha's husband, had stayed home that day to care for their baby. Within hours, he would learn that his wife and 2 daughters were gone, and his son was fighting for his life.
The blue car kept barreling on, hitting 34-year-old Natasha Saada, her 8-year-old daughter Diana, 5-year-old daughter Deborah, and 4-year-old son Philip. Natasha, Diana, and Deborah were killed. Their funeral was yesterday. The little boy still fighting for his life.
Passengers in the Uber were also injured. The mother and her children inside suffered physical injuries. One child later spoke about nightmares and ongoing pain. Ocean Parkway was shut down for hours. Traffic stood still. The scene remained blocked while investigators documented everything. Mayor Eric Adams later called the crash a really tragic tragedy. He said the driver should never have been on the road. Detectives interviewed Miriam Yarimi at the hospital, where she was treated for minor injuries that sharply contrasted with the destruction she caused. She gave an address that did not match official records, refused chemical testing, and denied responsibility. Investigators already had decisive proof. Surveillance cameras followed her Audi from block to block. Dashcams captured the impact. Traffic cameras showed red lights ignored. Data from the car's black box confirmed she was driving close to 70 miles per hour in a 25 zone, with full throttle, no braking, and minimal steering input. Search warrants recovered her phone, driver's license, and digital records, while her driving history confirmed a suspended license. They tested the airbags and pulled electronic data. Another warrant opened her phone, history, her apps, and her social media. Photos showed her joking about tickets. Records showed unpaid fines. Financial documents showed her license suspension for insurance lapses. Mail records showed notices delivered to her home. Each piece connected to the same pattern. She knew she was not allowed to drive, and she drove anyway. However, with the evidence fixed and undeniable, Miriam Yarimi was arrested and processed. The case moved into the court system, but for the Saada family, the loss was final. As detectives stacked reports, a larger picture formed. Her Audi carried more than 90 violations. Speed cameras caught her again and again, including in school zones. Red light cameras caught her blowing through intersections. Fines crossed $10,000. Some were paid late, others ignored. Online posts showed pride instead of caution. None of it stopped her from pressing the gas on Ocean Parkway that afternoon. After treatment, she was moved into custody. Jail phone calls were recorded. She spoke freely. She talked about money. She talked about lawsuits. She talked about ways out. At times, she said she was a victim too. At times, she asked why she should apologize. At times, she spoke about pretending to be sick. Those calls would later appear in court filings, not as drama, but as proof of mindset after the crash. Prosecutors filed serious charges: manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide, assault. Each count matched a life lost or a body injured. The case was placed into Brooklyn Supreme Court. The judge assigned was Danny Chun. The district attorney's office made clear they would seek a long sentence. The evidence was heavy. The story was simple. A suspended driver raced through red lights and killed a family crossing the street. Court moves slower than streets. Defense papers tried to soften the image. They spoke about her background. They spoke about hardship. Prosecutors pushed back. They listed evictions, jail fights, recorded calls, attempts to blame others, attempts to move money. Each side prepared for a trial that could stretch for months and force grieving families to sit through every detail again. In October, before a jury was seated, Yarimi pleaded guilty. She admitted to 3 counts of reckless manslaughter. The plea locked in responsibility. It also locked in limits. Prosecutors wanted 5 to 15 years. The judge offered a deal with a lower range. The defense accepted. With that plea came a waiver of appeal. The case would not stretch endlessly. The sentencing date was set. For the Saada family, waiting did not bring relief. Natasha Saada was gone. Her daughters Diana and Deborah were gone. Her son Philip survived, but carried injuries that would follow him forever. Court dates did not change that. Statements did not change that. What the court could decide was only how long Yarimi would be locked away. On November 19th, the courtroom filled quietly. Yarimi stood before the judge. She cried. She read prepared words. She said she accepted responsibility. She spoke about sorrow and regret. The judge listened. Prosecutors spoke next. They described speed, red lights, and choice. They spoke about a driver who cared only about herself. They reminded the court that the law allowed a longer sentence.
I want to begin by apologizing to the victim's family. There's a lot of sorrow and pain, remorse, regret I feel in my heart. For causing such an unspeakable tragedy. I accept full responsibility for my actions, and I hope and pray that my guilty plea, as well as my sentencing here today, will provide some degree of closure to the victims and their family members for all of the pain and suffering that my actions have caused.
Justice Danny Chun delivered the sentence: 3 to 9 years in state prison. The words landed heavy and light at the same time. Heavy because prison was real. Light because the maximum was higher. The plea deal controlled the outcome. The judge followed it. The gavel moved on. Defense attorneys said she was emotional and remorseful. They said the judge looked at the whole person. Prosecutors said the sentence still sent a message. The district attorney repeated that this was one of the worst crashes he had ever seen. He thanked investigators. He spoke about laws that could stop repeat speeders before streets turned deadly. The Saada family did not attend. Their lawyer spoke for them. He said disappointment was too small a word. 3 lives were gone. The shortest possible prison time felt hollow. Community members echoed that anger. They said sorry does not raise children. Sorry does not rebuild families. Sorry does not fix streets. The sentence matters because it draws a line. It says reckless driving can be prison, not just tickets. It says suspended licenses are not paper rules. It says data and cameras matter. It does not undo deaths. It does not heal injuries. It does not bring peace. It marks accountability inside criminal law, and that is all it can do. Criminal court cannot pay medical bills. It cannot plan lifetime care for a child with brain injuries. It cannot replace a mother's income or guidance. It cannot fund therapy for trauma that follows survivors for decades. Those gaps are not failures of this case. They are limits of criminal law itself. Separate from prison, civil cases move forward, wrongful death claims, injury claims, economic loss, pain and suffering. Lawyers examine insurance, ownership, and responsibility beyond the driver. They review black box data again. They review camera footage again. Civil court does not punish. It calculates harm and assigns cost. This case carried overwhelming proof. Video from many angles, phone data, vehicle data, financial records, mail receipts, license records. Each piece matched the next. There was no mystery about speed, no mystery about braking, no mystery about permission to drive. The truth stayed the same from arrest to sentencing. After sentencing, lawmakers and advocates spoke louder. They pointed to repeat offenders. They pointed to speed cameras ignored. They pointed to the Stop Superspeeders bill waiting in Albany. The idea was simple. If someone proves they cannot drive safely, their car should not let them speed. Families for Safe Streets said this crash did not have to happen. Miriam Yarimi will serve time. The exact length depends on parole boards and conduct behind bars. The Saada family will carry loss every day. Philip will grow up with scars inside his body and his memory. The street where this happened looks normal again, but it is not. The legal case moved forward. Life did not reset. The case is closed on paper, but the questions it leaves behind are not. Should this sentence have been longer? And should repeat speeders be stopped before lives are lost? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more clear, fact-driven stories like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe.